board members who wanted to terminate Fagan's contract only needed 5 votes, and they got it tonight with 6, but not without another tense meeting with lots of security, yelling, and some members of the public even having to be escorted out of the meeting room.
You're looking at the remnants of that meeting right now. In this live picture, you can see most of the public has left, but there's still a great number of security personnel on hand. Lots of the public who attended weren't very happy to see so much security there, but the school board felt it was necessary given the emotion that's tied with this vote tonight. Again, Feagins was fired by a vote of 6-3 tonight. ABC 24's Lauren Turman is live at school board headquarters with the latest. Lauren?
Well, Richard, so much emotion, intensity, as you said, as that board voted 6-3 to fire Superintendent Dr. Marie Feagins after a 10-month tenure with the district. She initially came from Detroit, landed in Memphis, saying last week at the meeting that the right leader at the right place at the right time can change everything. And obviously, the majority of the board did not think she was the right leader at the right time. Now, again, it was a very contentious meeting, lots of security here tonight from all different agencies, but really some of the highlights that I want to share with you now. Again, from the general counsel report that presented a little more than half an hour ago, it said that in the report she violated her employment contract no less than 8 times and violated board policy on 9 separate occasions. The attorney also said that in response to allegations in the termination resolution, there was a pattern of untruthful statements. He's reiterated that word over and over and over again. He was also saying that all of the allegations against her were found to be true factually, including the $45,000 donation check, some of the overtime payments, and some other allegations that were made against her by this board. Now, it was board members Sable Ote, Tawana Murphy, Natalie McKinney, Keith Williams, Stephanie Love, and Chair Joyce Coleman that ultimately made that vote and that resolution to terminate her. Now, a lot of community outcry, a lot of outpour of support for her, as you've heard here, but I do want to take you to sound that we have from Dr. Feagins addressing some of the students in the district for the last time.
This is not the last message, but I do want everyone to stay encouraged, stay optimistic, keep using your voices, keep showing up. This is not the end, but stay focused on the main thing, and that has been the main thing, which is your future, what is most important for you, the type of educational experience that you have. We've done some great work, and I believe that great work will continue.
And board member Michelle McKizak was notably emotional, very visibly emotional there, saying that she apologizes for inciting some of the chaos that we saw at tonight's meeting, but she just feels so strongly that Dr. Feagins should remain. And she also said that she hopes that her work with Feagins is not over. She hopes that she continues her efforts in Memphis one way or another, but she doesn't really see at this point another way. She feels that the board is broken and that they don't really have anywhere else to go from here but state oversight at this point. So she clearly just feels a lot of sadness, and as you saw, was very well expressed tonight from her. Also, board member Amber Hewitt Garcia echoing a lot of those sentiments, saying who would work for Memphis Shelby County Schools? Who would we hire? Who would want to put in an application for this school district? And a lot of the parents that we spoke with tonight have also made similar statements, feeling the same way, fearing for their children and other people. We do want to also take you to a statement that Feagins made as she was walking out of the building and stopped to speak with us about what she says are the next steps for her.
I think this is exactly the opposite of what you desire to see in any organization. I think this is exactly the opposite of what we expect from our kids and from our staff. I think this is exactly the opposite of what an educational institution stands for. I believe that many members of the board chose chaos over children, and it looks like they've chosen litigation over leadership, and so I'll see them in court. No further questions.
Thank you. Excuse me.
And to the what's next for the school district, of course, we heard, as you said, earlier there, Dr. Roderick Richmond accepted the interim superintendent position after Angela Whitelaw declined that position, saying that there is just too much contention, too much animosity in the community right now towards this board, towards other members of the district, and she could not accept this position in good faith. So, of course, Mr. Richmond there has accepted and will become the interim superintendent for the time being. Again, I just want to make sure I'm reiterating to you here, there has been so much emotion tonight, so much outpour of support for Feagins. There has also been a little bit of support for the board members that voted to oust her, saying that they understand some of the position and some of the steps that they had to take in order to reach there based on the facts that the attorney presented. But again, lots of emotion tonight, very long meetings that we've been sitting through here, ultimately ending with the 6-3 vote to fire Superintendent Dr. Marie Feagins. Live at MSCS headquarters, I'm Lauren Turman.
Great staying on top of this, Lauren. Thank you. Now, a lot of questions, unprecedented times it feels like here. One in particular, the interim superintendent that now is stepping into that spot, Dr. Roderick Richmond, and Michelle McKissick had said that she didn't even know much about him except for that he has worked with the district for a long time. And according to the website, the MSCS website, he has spent 3 decades with Memphis City Schools, and then he joined on with MSCS in 2013 and served as the chief academic advisor during the merger. And some parents, or one of the people who came up to the podium in support of Feagins, actually said that they had heard that some of the board members had already had him in mind long before this meeting even happened.
That is a name that's been circulating that I've been hearing for some time, that he would be the choice to be the interim superintendent. Right now he has the title of District Transformation Officer with the school system. And a little side note, he is a graduate of Trezevant High School too. So we'll try to get more information about him tomorrow, hopefully an interview about his views about taking over this district at such a tumultuous time, because there are a lot of unanswered questions, as you mentioned. We understand that because of the way they handled the situation, the vote today, that Dr. Feagins was fired with cause. So what does that mean in terms of her payout? We know that the last superintendent who left amid controversy got like $500,000 as part of his golden parachute. What will she get as a result of the fact that she was fired with cause? We also wonder what this means for the state involvement. We've been talking about that. The state has been threatening to just take over the Memphis-Shelby County school system. I heard today it gets $900 million a year in state funding. So yeah, the state's very interested in what's going on with MSCS. And we just need to know the facts of the case. We mentioned the council's report, the general counsel's report. It was pretty short. It just gave a quick outline. But when you make allegations that she violated policy 9 times, violated her contract 8 times, then I think the public deserves to know what were those violations.
And he did not really get too much into it before the public started, of course, voicing their outcries as well. But going back to the state involvement, Representative Mark White already saying that he's making legislation to have the state involved. And we also heard from Amber Hewitt Garcia, one of the board members, about the House bill fired to recall board members on the table as well. You know, a lot of this, too, is also seeing the public feel almost betrayed, as we heard them tonight, by the very people they elected into these board seats.
Right.
So we're just seeing a lot of contention right now as we continue to, again, get these questions that are unanswered and details on what's next. As you heard Fagan say, that she plans to take legal action. So this is definitely not the last that we're going to see of this fight. But today, as tensions were flaring throughout tonight's Memphis-Shelby County School Board meeting, Tennessee State Representative Justin Pearson was in attendance and spoke up about the matter, which didn't sit well with police officers.
Yeah, he says during the business meeting, he refused to be quiet, and that turned into a situation where officers grabbed his arm. Pearson says what he endured is just a testament to the unfair process within MSCS.
Superintendent Dr. Feagins, who is responsible for the largest school district in the state, or was at least, Pearson says state lawmakers are watching and waiting to take over the school board.
All that's going to do is create space for the state to come in and take and assert more control, which is not something that I want, which is not something most people want, but that is what's going to happen. And so we have a responsibility to hold our elected leaders more accountable for the care of our kids, for the care of our community, than what they're currently doing.
Representative Pearson believes the number of officers present at tonight's school board meeting was an irresponsible use of resources, but there were a lot of security folks there for sure.
Now, there was that business part of the meeting that started at 5:30, and then this was supposed to get started at 7. They didn't get started until 7:40 for the special called meeting. And again, 3 votes for keeping Feagins, or it was no to firing her, but 6 board members did vote to terminate her ultimately.
Which, as you said, was one more than they needed. And I kept hearing that we might have 6 votes, and sure enough, that's exactly what happened. All they needed was 5, and the 6 carried the day. And we'll see what happens as we continue to follow this story for the days and weeks and probably months ahead.